A few years ago, a man was arrested for robbing a bank. When asked why he committed the crime, he replied that he had seen a report on television about another man who had managed to escape with a large sum of money after robbing a bank. So he thought it was easy and he could do the same.
Hey, let's go rob a bank.
This man was a victim of availability bias, which is our tendency to overestimate the importance of information that comes easily to mind rather than considering all information impartially. In this case, the man overestimated the importance of the television report and underestimated the risks and consequences of his action. But what exactly is a cognitive bias? Well, it's simply a distortion in the way we think and perceive the world around us. These biases are often unconscious and can influence our decisions and actions. There are many types of cognitive biases such as confirmation bias, availability bias, anchoring bias, and more. In this video, we will focus on the 10 most common cognitive biases and their impact on our daily lives and on interfaces.
Confirmation bias. If you are convinced that cats are the best pets, you will likely seek out information that confirms this belief, such as articles about the mental health benefits of cats, and ignore information that goes against this belief, such as articles on cat allergies.
I love that cat.
Confirmation bias is our tendency to seek out and give more weight to information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs and opinions, rather than considering all information impartially. In interfaces, confirmation bias can manifest itself when users tend to click on search results that confirm their pre-existing beliefs, rather than considering all results impartially.
Availability bias. If you recently heard about a plane crash, you will probably overestimate the risk of flying and underestimate the risks of other modes of transportation, such as driving or taking the train.
You want to book the flight?
Make other arrangements.
Availability bias is our tendency to overestimate the importance of information that comes easily to mind, rather than considering all information impartially. In interfaces, availability bias can manifest when users tend to focus on the most visible or recent information, rather than considering all information impartially. Anchoring bias. If you've heard of a product being priced high, you'll likely take that price as a benchmark and overestimate the product's value, even if you find the same product at a lower price later. Anchoring bias is our tendency to overly rely on the first information we receive, even if it is incomplete or incorrect, and to treat it as a reference for subsequent information. In interfaces, anchoring bias can manifest when users tend to over-rely on the first information they see, such as the initial price of a product, and underestimate subsequent deals or discounts. The representativeness bias. For example, if you meet someone who fits the engineer stereotype, you will likely overestimate the likelihood that they are an engineer, even if you don't know their education or work experience. Representativeness bias is our tendency to judge the probability of an event based on its resemblance to a pre-existing stereotype or model, rather than considering all information impartially.
A stereotype much?
In interfaces, representativeness bias can manifest itself when users tend to judge the relevance of a search result based on its resemblance to a pre-existing stereotype or model.
The illusion of control bias. For example, if you play a game of chance, you will probably overestimate your ability to influence the outcome of the game by using certain strategies or choosing certain numbers.
Oh my god! Oh my god, I'm the winner!
It's legitimate.
The illusion of control bias is our tendency to overestimate our ability to control events, even when we have no real influence on those events. In interfaces, the illusion of control bias can manifest when users tend to overestimate their ability to control the features or outcomes of an interface, even when they have no actual influence over those elements. The halo effect bias. For example, if you meet someone who is very beautiful, you will probably overestimate their other qualities, such as their intelligence or kindness, based on their physical appearance. Halo bias is our tendency to evaluate a person or thing holistically based on a single positive trait or characteristic. In interfaces, halo effect bias can manifest itself when users tend to evaluate an interface overall based on a single positive trait or characteristic, such as its appearance or ease of use. The framing effect bias. For example, if you have to choose between two options, you are likely to choose the option that is presented positively, even if both options have the same advantages and disadvantages. Framing bias is our tendency to evaluate a situation or decision based on how it is presented, rather than considering all information impartially. The loss aversion bias. If you have to choose between winning 100 euros or losing 100 euros, you will probably place more importance on losing 100 euros, even if both options have the same objective value. Loss aversion bias is our tendency to place more importance on losses than on gains, even when both have the same objective value. In interfaces, loss aversion bias can manifest when users tend to value losses more than gains, even when both have the same objective value, such as when they must choose between different purchase or payment options. The negativity bias. If you read an article about a famous person, you will probably attach more importance to negative information about that person, such as their scandals or mistakes, than to positive information, such as their successes or achievements. Negativity bias is our tendency to place more importance on negative information than on positive information, even when both have the same objective value. In interfaces, negativity bias can manifest when users tend to value negative information more than positive information, such as when reading reviews or comments about a product or service. Group effect bias. If you are in a group of people who decide to do something illegal or immoral, you are likely to engage in the same behavior, even if you know it is wrong. Group effect bias is our tendency to adopt the opinions or behaviors of a group, even when those opinions or behaviors run counter to our own beliefs or judgment. Conclusion. There you have it. Together we have seen the 10 most common cognitive biases and their impact on our daily lives and on interfaces. These biases can prevent us from making informed decisions, considering all information impartially, and adapting to changes. They can also lead us to adopt behaviors or opinions that go against our own beliefs or our own judgment. It is important to be aware of these biases and take them into account in our daily lives, as well than in the design and use of interfaces. Indeed, cognitive biases can have negative consequences on our mental health, our social relationships, our work, and our life in general. So, what do you think? Have you ever been a victim of one of these cognitive biases? Feel free to share your experience and thoughts in the comments. And if you like this video, don't forget to share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel so as not to miss our next videos. Thanks for watching and see you soon.